Hello, kitties. That's what you always say, right? Hello, kitties. It's Colin and Jeff from Trail Trash ADV, and we are going on a motocamping trip, leaving Nova Scotia and heading towards New Brunswick. Destination TBD. We've got the 2021 KLX 300 and a 2000 stick. Is there something you want to get first? Like your backpack?
Alright, gentlemen and ladies, this is the Route 14 across the Rawdon Hills. Nova Scotia runs between Windsor, the 102 that runs from Halifax out to the airport and then up to Truro and out of the province, so the Transcam. It's a picturesque, scenic, twisty road that goes through. There's a couple of routes we can take. We're actually not going to stay on the 14. We're going to skip along on the 236, Kennecook, and come out the back of Truro. This road sucks balls when you get stuck behind a semi, and semis do take this road for some reason because their stupid GPS says it's shorter as the crow flies. But it is not short. It is physically shorter as the crow flies, but it is not faster to the highway.
It's faster if you're on a motorcycle and don't get stuck behind this.
Yeah. Okay, so remember I said I was going to go through Brooklyn?
Yeah.
We're now going through Brooklyn. Because I'm not following that shit wherever they're going.
What's that song? What's that song? Dad, Brooklyn.
No sleep till Brooklyn.
Yeah. Anywho, so we just got off the highway. Our 4-night stint from my place to Windsor, and our first impressions of the highway traveling on this bike. On the DRZ, I was impressed. So I had 1544 gearing. And I was punting along around 115, and the bike had lots of extra, and I didn't feel like I was vibrating out of my boots. Like, it actually wasn't too bad. Now it vibrates a little less here at 90, but not a ton less. Like, it's not undoable. Colin, how'd the KLX do?
Yeah, the KLX is a bit of a different story. You know, where it's fine on back roads like this or up to 100 kilometers an hour, and it will hold 100 kilometers an hour, but I found I was constantly switching between 5th and even 4th on any kind of substantial climb. Now, mind you, we're running with some motocamping gear, and my fat ass, I'm about 220 now.
It's true. You have put on weight.
What?
And it's quite buzzy. My nether regions are feeling the tinglies. That's for sure.
That does sound pretty hot. It would make my nether regions engorge. Okay, I get it. Yes.
But it wasn't awful. I think doing it for a long period of time, just straight pavement highway pounding, I think it would be quite uncomfortable. Stock seat isn't terrible. It is relatively soft on my... Oh, we're turning left, copy that. Relatively soft on my uncushioned bottom, you know, so... But, yeah, that's where I'm at with the KLX right now. I've also got the Kenda Trackmaster 2s on here, so that may be contributing to the vibes and may contribute to some diminished road manners on this trip. And yeah, that's the KLX report, brought to you by Colin.
Yeah, it's worth noting that I've got the IRCs, and I don't know what model they are, GPX or something like that. I don't know. They're stock tires that come in the CRF 250 and CRF 300.
They're the D606.
Yeah, they look like the D606s. They're basically an OEM included stock tire.
Whoa.
I don't know. Who's got the right of way there? I don't know.
I have no idea. The important part is we did not die.
Yeah. So I slammed these on because I had them. They're a 50/50 tire, and I have strong suspicions that this trip is going to kill the rear. So this is like one of the windiest spots along the Trans-Canada. And this is the reason that you need to pound a little four-way, 4 lanes, sorry, not four-way. That's a porno I watched last night. Because you have to get across here. This is the only road that goes in, unless you go over to the coast by Pugwash to Cap Belay.
So my fuel light just came on at 103 kilometers, but I'm not worried about it. We got that 5-liter can, and I think this is just really conservative. I think we're gonna get fucking soaked. Beautiful. Okay. Depth. That on camera.
Go here. You can kind of lean in if you want. Then you'll be the.
I'll chime in when I'm ready to chime in.
No, you're doing it.
Oh, I'm doing what? Oh,
yeah, do you want to sit here then?
God. Welcome, folks. We've survived day 1. It was pretty goddamn cold. So we have done how many kilometers today?
Oh, pushing 600.
600 kilometers today on a couple dual sports. 2021 KLX 300 and Jeff's 2001?
2010.
2010 DRZ 400. So, how do we summarize the day?
Oh, like cold and wet?
Well, you know, it started off relatively good when we left Nova Scotia.
It did. It was good. It was good until we got to Moncton, and then post Moncton is when. Post Salisbury is when we got it.
Yeah. So we hit about 250 kilometers of just torrential downpouring rain. Yeah. And the temperature dropped.
Yeah, several degrees.
Yeah. It was cold enough we could see our breath.
Yes.
So, yes. Anyways, we are here in the hot tub and we are quite happy now. So, weather aside, what would you say we learned about our bikes?
Well, they can do it. In a nutshell, I guess.
Yeah.
They can. Would you choose to do a road trip on these bikes? No. No. We did end up having to pound a little more 4-lane highway than we wanted to, but we had to kind of make up a little bit of time because of the weather. Even if I was going to do a back road tour again, and this is supposed to be back road, right? The DRZ you can. It still wouldn't be the ideal bike if you're not going to go off road at all. Then no, don't do it. If you need to drive somewhere and do some gnarly trails while you're there, then yeah, I think if you were doing like say the Trans-America Trail or something like that. I mean, a lot of guys have done them on dual sports and light adventure or KLR kind of bikes, and I think that would be kind of cool to do on the DRZ. And the whole purpose of this segment was kind of just to see, you know, if we could, because we've all read threads on ADV Rider or wherever. Oh, those bikes can't do that, or like, why would you buy that for a lightweight adventure bike? Because it's not going to work. And I think it does, but you got to slow down. So we're gonna see where that'll take us over the next 3 days, because this day was the day that we had to push a little harder than we wanted to, and we couldn't stop and smell the roses as much. We still took frequent butt breaks to get gas because of the next thing I'll talk about, but the next 3 days it's going to be a lot more slower paced, and there'll be a lot more sightseeing and that sort of thing. So that might change how we feel about these bikes at that point. So the biggest problem I think with the DRZ, I thought the RPMs at the highway speeds, everybody says the 5-speed transmission, blah, blah, blah. They're not that bad. I'm running 1544, as I said earlier in this series, or if we're doing the intro, then no. I'm saying it now for the first time. The DRZ was okay on the highway. It was like, as long as I'm doing 110. Would I want to do 130 or what Americans would say 75 miles an hour? No. It's just, it feels like the engine's going to blow up. Even though it has more horsepower, you can still pass somebody at 130. I just wouldn't want to ride at that. So I tried to stay around 110, 115 when we were pushing, right? All that, the wind hasn't been an issue. I mean, obviously, if you've got a big Goldwing and you got a big windshield in front of you or something, that you're getting less buffeting, maybe you'll arrive at your destination less fatigued, maybe. But I don't really feel like that. I didn't. And this is coming from a guy who's owned a Gullwing, currently owns a Gullwing, but has owned Gullwings in the past too. That the air off those, even that little fly screen thing the DRZ has, I mean, it was up, and it was, unless we were behind a semi, and we were rarely ever, but we were a couple of times, the buffeting just wasn't that big of an issue, even with the peak on the ADV helmet, right? So engine, I think, had the power. The gearing, although maybe it could use a 6th gear depending on how they do the transmission, because we'll talk about that in a second with Colin. I think it's fine. The biggest issue that both Colin and I have right now are seats. He's on a stock seat, I'm on a Seat Concepts low, and just killed our ass.
Yeah,
Killed our ass.
Essentially, it's a really easy fix, and the fix we are already using on our other bikes, and it's called a sit and fly. And they just the squishy material that air can flow through and water can flow through, and it keeps you cool and dry, and they're $25, and we're not sponsored by them. They just deserve the sales. That's the seat issue solved, but yes, the seats are very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I mean, I've read a lot of reviews on the Seat Concepts, and it's like that's supposed to be the next, like, that's a must-do mod to these bikes. And I don't know, maybe it's because mine's a low, and the foam, they use really hard foam because it was a low version. I don't know, but my butt is not good. It's just and if I had a more comfortable seat on that, I think even today pushing would have been a whole different story on the DRZ.
Now,
KLX transmission. 6 gears versus 5.
So this is a really interesting comparison to draw, because the KLX 300 and the Honda CRF 300L were touted as the DRZ 400 killers, right? If the KLX 300 and the Honda CRF 300L are basically the same bike, which they are, that's not the case. Yes, it has 6 gears, the KLX 300, but it can't make use of the 6th gear. Having that thing loaded for motocamping, if you hit any headwind at all, any wind resistance, just forget 6th is even there, because you can't do anything with it. I'm 200 and I'll say I'm 220. I'll go up, and I'm carrying probably, I don't know, 30 pounds of gear, and no, nothing. 110 was the max I could milk out of that bike. My honest to goodness thought when comparing it to the DRZ 400 is that the KLX 300 either needs 100 more cc's or the DRZ 400 needs a 6th gear. And then either one of those bikes would then truly be the killer of the rest of the market. But until they do one of those things, they're just not going to get there. The only other thing I would say that Jeff hasn't talked about is fuel. So the KLX 300, all 3 times the fuel light came on, we're at 111 kilometers. That's like 70 miles for Americans. It's a good thing that it has a small gas tank, because with that seat you really can't ride it more than 110 kilometers at a time. So
yeah, no, that's true. I never hit reserve at any point, because you always sort of need fuel before I did, but not by much. It would have been interesting to see like how far they'd actually go. Yeah. But that's important to note.
Yeah. The other important thing to note, and talking about fuel, is the KLX 300 and the DRZ 400 are burning almost identical amounts of fuel. Yeah. Like maybe a couple 100 mils difference.
Yeah.
Over the 100+ kilometers at fill up. Very, very small differences. So in terms of one getting better fuel economy or trying to use that to justify a purchase, I wouldn't even bother.
Well, not if you're going to drive them like that.
I'm just going to take it right in the shot there.
You get right.
Oh, I'm floating away. Oh.
I don't even remember where we were.
I think I got to lean in a little further here now.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, fuel economy, that's what it was. I was surprised to see, because of the extra CCs, still consuming the same amount of fuel. Yeah. Which is effing expensive right now.
Yes, it is. What were we paying? $2.35 a liter?
$2.25 a liter.
$2.25. Yeah. Brutal. So. But yeah, the first day went pretty well. All things told. I mean, we're here in the hot tub and we're not dead. So
no major casualties except my iPhone. But.
Oh yes, Jeff discovered today that. Well, maybe I shouldn't say anything in case you try and make a claim.
There you go.
Anyways, Google iPhone plus motorcycle and see what pops up. Yeah, okay. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning.